E from MarketWizards.com and eminywizard.com. It's just after IB, the 10th of April, 2019, and I'm reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. And one of our traders wants to know what range should he be sim trading right now. And I'm going to give the floor to him and let him tell us what he's seeing. He can direct me any way he wants in terms of the size of the chart, whether he wants a 5 or a 10 or 15, whatever. But right now I've got it on a 5-minute chart. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm getting confused on all the numbers being thrown around. So I tried trading them and just started losing some of the profit I made on the more traditional moves that I'm used to, the double tops, which is the bounces off those resistance and support lines. But when I started trying to range trade, what I think I'm doing, I'm not even sure if I'm doing it right. He just gonna go off of what I'm trying to do right now. Anyway, I tried to slow things down, put it on a 1,000 tick chart with one of your templates, the EMA template, and that helped me. Now I'm sitting here collecting my head, trying to get a game plan, and I'm repositioning my support and resistance lines on where I think the range is possibly at. Kind of ignoring the numbers you guys put out there, even though they're right, but for some reason I can't seem to pull it off. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to think of where I can start taking bounces, and that's about it. That's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure it out.
Anybody have any advice for him? Anybody else? Go ahead, Scott. You can type or you can talk, whatever you want to do. If you type, I'll just relay the message.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, great. Go ahead.
So, Sean, I'll give you my take on this because some things you're saying I can relate to. So, I mean, I've been investing and trading off and on, mainly swing and position trading, so longer term trades for 30 plus years. And, you know, I didn't actually have to get it exactly right when I'm trading a position that could last for days or weeks or months. As long as I got the turn in the right place and I feathered in and I feathered out, I could catch that middle that he talks about, but it was over a long time frame. So when you're doing this stuff, this daily stuff, that, you know, the quick moves get you. And so what I had to wrap my head around first was just how to trade in the short term, because I haven't done the day stuff, you know, until with E. When I did try it, I didn't do well. So one of the challenges for me was just trusting what E is saying and what Zeke is saying, and trying to get the basics of the system. E talks about the system, but the system is thousands of, of moving parts that is in E's DNA now because he developed it over decades. And so it's complicated, even though when he talks about it, it's simple. The simplicity comes from his deep understanding. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because what I've been looking for is levels that I understand. Like I really understand the gladiator chart, right? I see those levels. I really understand the Rocket Man chart. And so I just stare at those levels for turn points and then try to use my intuition for where the market might go. And then I've also had to study and learn about stops. So like today is one example on the chart that's right in front of you, E. I'll just show you what I've done because it combines a little bit of my old school stuff plus what E's doing. So E, if you could draw a line from that peak around the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay.
No.
Like this?
No, down to, no. Well, you could do it from there. No, the other way, sorry. Over to the left, near the far left of the chart. The 8 p.m. hour, sorry.
8 p.m.? Oh, 8
over
p.m.
to the left, yeah.
Okay. Well, we want to back over here.
Yeah, and I want to pull it out now, an upwards diagonal line, create a trend line, yeah, to the top, right? And then a second trend line to form a wedge that starts from the bottom of the the 2200 hour. And then up through that 6 a.m. So you're creating a wedge basically.
Okay. And where do you want me to put this one?
No. So keep the line you put there. It's not a channel, it's a wedge. So
Okay.
take that second line and see the 5, 6 o'clock hour.
Yep.
Wicks, connect it to those.
You want something like that?
No, the existing line.
Because that's what I'm saying.
No, okay. Well, you're not
called
sharp.
The blind leading the blind.
Yeah. There you go. Now keep it up.
Okay.
So now there you go. So there's a wedge there for me, right? And what's also interesting, if you go back and look at the chat room, there's a lot of discussion. There's been a lot of discussion around that 91 level. So if I'm just taking my simple things like, okay, I see a wedge, and then I keep watching that 91 level because I know it's important and I've been studying what he's been saying, then what I'm looking for is tails up there that could turn into a trade. And so you can't pick the first one at the top of the wedge, but you can pick the second one, and you can even pick the third one. And so for me, it's like if I can combine the levels that he's talking about, and I see why I'm still not always sure why they're important, but I'm learning. If I can find those levels, and it's whether it's a weekly cigar or an important middle or an important level that he's identified for several different reasons, and then I can see a topping or a bottom kind of pattern there, and I'm only looking for 4 points, it's right there. So I look for an entry, and if I get 3-4 points, I'm out, and I do that twice a day, and I'm a happy camper. So this is just one example, but what I'm trying to say is trying to grasp everything he's saying is hard. And so if you can just focus on the levels, take 1 or 2 charts like Rocket Man or like Gladiator and stare at those levels and forget everything else that you know except maybe just some broad technical stuff. Just go with the system. It's not, if you're not trained with it, it's super hard to do because you're trusting something that even though you see that it's working every day for E and Z, it's like until you understand it yourself, until you can internalize it, it's very hard to pull the trigger. I've watched a lot of other gurus, and I've tried to do what they say, and I failed. And so I've gotten tired of trying to mimic what someone else says just because they're saying it. Like in the end, if you don't trust the trade yourself, you can't take it. It's too frustrating. And so that's mine.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That was a big help. And I do right now, I'm looking at that, and that's what I was trying to do with my tick chart. But I see 2 or 3 decent trades that I could have pulled off fairly simple right there. I guess you're right. I'm trying to internalize the years of knowledge, and it's just when it gets in my head, it's bouncing off my brain, my skull walls, and I'm not getting anywhere with it. So I guess integrating some of what I know into the levels you're talking about. Yeah, good stuff, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I told you a month or 2 ago that I had a sort of an insight one day when I was struggling between what I think I know and what I was seeing E do. And the problem is when I tried short-term trading, I was always failing, and I see this guy always succeeding, and limiting losses, and yet I was not having. It wasn't easy for me to go with it, and like once I realized that I could overlay what I know, just in terms of basic technicals, like I'm really good at identifying patterns and trend lines and stuff, but they're not always useful. But if you combine that basic technical stuff with what you're hearing E and Zeke say, and then you focus in on particularly key levels, maybe like, and another thing is like I have an urge to be always doing something, right? So I had to fight that too. But if I could just look at those key levels they're talking about, I mean, he's made a pretty big deal of 84, and there it is, and he's made a pretty big deal of 91, and there it is, and so, I sort of, I'm just learning to take as religion that it's all about finding these short-term ranges and playing them until it doesn't work. And if I'm going long here from 84 and I put my stop in place, like for me, learning stops is a big deal for me. If I'm taking a long in here at around 84 and there's a bunch of tails down there, well, one could have done that. Having a stop at even just 83 or 82, I don't care right now because it's a really tight stop. And it's they could come down and break it, but I could make it at 82, whatever. But I feel like, this looks pretty clear to me right now. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to think about.
Yeah, I'm going to reapproach that right now off of what we just talked about. It's just something about my personality. I'm a engineer, and I haven't worked in a long time as an engineer, but my friends and people that know me say you still have that mentality. You pick things apart too much, and that's what I'm doing right now, picking it apart. And trading is something that has eluded me. I do okay at times. I'm a supply and demand type trader, which I just take the second bounce off a big supply or demand zone. But those opportunities, you miss a lot of them. It's tough to catch a lot of them. They happen in the middle of the night, various times during the day. And those are the moves where you just have a 1 tick, 2, 3 tick stop, and it's instantly going your direction.
Yeah.
And you're safe, and that's how you probably position trade. And I understand exactly where you're coming from.
No, I totally get that. But I think, there's an old axiom in trading, which I've always loved. It's hard to do, but, trade what's in front of you. And really, I see these guys doing that all the time. Even like right now, right? We've talked about this range. He talks over and over again about the middles, which I've only come to really start to understand the importance of that. But right now, so we've got a range and we're right at the middle. So anyone could do anything. Like here, maybe that's a comfortable place. Like if you think it's going down right now, maybe you're looking for tails to form, right? And for a downside trade. I'm not sure I take an upside trade from here because that's sort of no man's land on the upside. But so it's a possible reversal zone based on stuff he said. I'd be thinking about that right now, and then I would, if it starts to get above it, well, what else is happening right now? The 4, 5, 6 is happening right now. So, where are we? It's like just eyeballing. It looks like we're close to 5 back right now off the top. So that's something. So if I've got 5 back and I'm at the mid, maybe I'm thinking it's a reversal point right now. So I'm just trying to take these simple ideas that E and Z are talking about and stick with those and forget all the other stuff except maybe the technical overlays, because otherwise I was just getting caught up in my shorts. All right, I've talked enough.
You guys have done great. I'm going to stop this recording. You guys can listen to it later if you'd like to get some of your gems. And then I'm going to start another one, and then let me respond basically to, some of the things that I've heard and totally agree with basically. But let me at least respond and tell you from my perspective. And my perspective is diddly. It means nothing. As a trader, you have to internalize this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me just stop this and we'll start another one, because this one's gotten a little bit long, and it's hard to listen to anybody for more than 10 seconds.